Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Webinar Wednesday series. I'm just going to wait for some people to get connected. Okay, I will start with the intro. So welcome to our Webinar Wednesday series at CyberData Pros. My name is Kylie, and I'll be hosting this event today. I also have Chris Arundel, the CEO at CyberData Pros, and I also have Chris Z here, who is a data privacy and security analyst at CyberData Pros. I'll now pass it along over to Chris Arundel to start us off.
Thank you so much, Kylie, and we're definitely looking forward to this webinar. We've been preparing for this for a while and trying out a lot of unique software and voice variations. As many of you probably know or have been reading the news, voice cloning and AI voice cloning seems to be something that's heating up and something that a lot of people need to understand and be able to protect themselves. Essentially what AI voice cloning is someone that's taking maybe capturing your voice for a number of seconds or a number of minutes. And then there's software, there's SaaS-based applications online where you can actually import that voice, that voice data, and then now use that voice and get it cloned so that way you can type in a series of text or questions, information into an app, and then it basically will use that voice to regenerate that text. And now it sounds like you're talking to your coworker or spouse or family member, but that's actually not the case, right? And so this is something that's very important to know and understand. We feel that we wanted to kind of bring this topic to light, as well as utilize some scenarios. And so Chris, myself, and Kylie, and a few others have actually put our voice, recorded our voice, and we've actually scripted out some scenarios. We want to kind of, again, show others what that means. It's very important to, again, think about this, understand it, and know that it can be happening to yourself or others. I talk to a lot of people who have removed their voicemail greeting on their cell phone because a lot of times now those hackers are actually recording your voice using that voicemail, and then again using that AI voice cloning software app to actually regenerate your voice with different text. There's also quite a few stories out there about musicians, about actors, actresses, to where people are using their voice to write songs, to write scripts. And again, they had no clue that it was their voice that was doing it, right? And so it's easy, as you can think about it. If you're watching a movie, if you're listening to a song, be able to capture that voice, be able to capture that data, regenerate that using, again, a series of different applications. And now you can write a song using someone else's voice, or write a story or movie using someone else's voice. And it's very realistic. And so we're going to be talking about that today, and we're going to be running through some scenarios. And so if you do have questions, please feel free to enter it into the chat. Kylie will get to those questions and we'll answer those at the very end. But I'd like to turn over to Chris Z now. He's got some slides to kind of walk through what we're talking about here, what we're doing, and what you can do to protect yourself.
Right. And just a quick question, Chris. Like, how immediate is this? Like, you can just type something in and it pops up someone's voice after you record it?
Yeah. So typically, to do a decent voice translation, you need at least 30 seconds. A lot of these systems are asking for a minute. I have seen some systems that ask for up to 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. Of course, the more voice that you have, the more samples you have, the better the translation will be. Okay. But once you get that voice, once you import it and export it as a certain type of file, re-import it into a few different applications, so you can kind of tweak the scariness, the sadness, the happiness in the voice. Mm-hmm. And then once that happens, I can pretty much type anything that I want. And within a matter of seconds, it will actually speak as though I'm typing kind of in real time.
Now, how easy is that? Was that pretty easy for you? I mean, I know we're pretty techie, right? But when it comes down to, a low level, or even our spoofers, hackers, whatever, is it pretty easy to do?
It definitely took a while to kind of understand the different applications and what you need to do to get started. Okay. I would say that I probably spent, a couple days testing out a lot of different options. What's out there, what's available. There's free options, which are terrible. You're going to eventually have to pay for something in order for it to work, right?
Pay for quality,
right? You got to pay for
quality,
right? And so, there was that, testing all that out. But now that I've got it down, with again, if I take voice for 30 seconds, I would say probably within 3 to 5 minutes, I'm ready to actually type text and have the voice actually start
pretty
speaking.
quick.
So it's very quick. Now it's very quick.
Yeah,
and so you can
very
imagine that somebody whose side job is to do this, they're doing it for 10 people, 100 people, 500 people. And we see in the news to where a mother thought that her daughter had called her asking for ransom.
Yep.
Right. And so, there's all sorts of scenarios.
There's asking for money. I need $500 here. I mean, it's becoming unreal.
It is.
In today's age.
Yeah.
So that's where it brings to my point that if Kylie, you could present the slides for me, little tips and tricks of how to protect yourself. Perfect. Thank you. So it's a little tips and tricks for helping and recognizing AI cloning. First thing, identification. We want to identify and verify the caller ID. We just don't want to trust it blindly, right? We don't want to trust like an area code, our area code in Atlanta. We don't want to trust any number comes out. I always scan my calls. I wait. If they leave a voicemail, I'll call them back. Scammers can appear from any number nowadays. You can put in any number and they can call you from your mom's number, your dad's number, anything like that. So you want to verify that caller ID.
It's easy to spoof numbers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And especially the older generation. I'm not trying to pick on it's hard for them to be like, oh, this is my mom, this is my, or oh, my son's calling me.
Right. They just see the number.
Yeah. Unexpected calls. So always be suspicious of unexpected calls. If you knew your mom's not calling you, or your family or your coworker is not supposed to call you, or why is he calling, or why is she calling, then, or even asking for personal information, always I would do, and we'll bring on to the next slide, but I just want to say it right now, is call them back. That's all you have to do. Which is my next slide. Just call them back. Say, hey, I'm doing something right now, or hey, let me call you back and I'll talk to you then. Just to be cautious. We want to be cautious now. And we're in a digital age now that
you gotta be careful.
You gotta be careful with everything. Verification. Now, I've been talking to a lot of people, reading a bunch of things about code words. And I think this is a really awesome information piece to establish a confidential with your coworkers, with your family, with your CEO, with your business, to establish a code word like moccasin, or even falafel, something not easy to guess.
Right.
You can come up with the business, or you can change it every week if it's a business and you want to change it every week. I mean, we did that in the military all the time with code words.
Yeah.
Every month or every week we would change a code word. That way we know we're talking to that person. Because you can dress up as a military person and get on base, right? If you have a code word, you kind of they don't know the code word.
Right.
They won't.
It's kind of like the when somebody tries to find out the Delta Sky Club Wi-Fi password, right? Where it changes all the time, right?
Yeah.
But again, you need to code.
But you need to change it. We change our passwords every 30, 90 days. Why can't we have a code word that changes? So we want to identify the right person who we're talking to. So the code word is really useful in AI cloning and being suspicious. Like I said before, call back. If you're unsure about the identity of the caller, ask for the details. Say, hey, I'll call you right back. Let me just call you right back. And then call that actual number back, mom, dad, coworker, and say, hey, did you call me? If it's yes, it's yes. If it's no, then we might have a spoofer on our hands. We might have a hacker. So
or better, some you know, a lot of people don't answer the phone anymore. They just text.
yeah.
So you can text them back. And
Yeah,
say,
text it. Hey, you calling me?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So and my next one, ask questions. Right? Always ask questions. Only that you and your coworker family would know. So I don't know. Let's come up with an example of like questions like, oh, you know what you did last week, or hey, what about walking our dog? You know, yesterday. I didn't walk the dog yesterday, but I want to say,
have a dog.
Yeah, I don't even have a dog. You don't even have a dog. So I say, hey, how's your dog? How's your dog doing?
Right.
Yeah, you don't have a dog. And if he said, yeah, well, he's doing well. He's doing well. Then you know you have a spoofer.
Some
on
good
your hand.
tips.
Yep. So always be cautious. So this is all about being cautious, and just especially, and again, in this digital age, we have to be cautious everywhere, online and now to our phones. Conversation triggers. Scammers are always going to be a sense of urgency. I want money. I need personal information. I need to get out of jail. Give me $600. I'm in big trouble. Give me money. Their vagueness, so they won't know a lot of information about you or about your family, or they'll know some because online,
social
Facebook,
media, right?
Facebook, Twitter. You know,
that's a whole other conversation, right? Don't put anything on social media. Yeah,
right. Exactly. That's a whole other topic that we could go on. Yeah, absolutely. So the vagueness, if you sense a sense of vagueness, or they're not telling you all the information, or you kind of, again, if you're suspicious, leave it.
Yeah.
Call them back. Asking for personal information. Never do that on the phone anymore.
Yeah.
Or if you call them back and they're the right person, then you can leave. But if they're calling you for personal information, I will call, even if it's my wife, I would call it right back. Yeah. Right back.
Especially if it's like sensitive or
bank information, anything like that. Passwords, social security numbers. I mean, I remember back in the day, you used to just call and be like, hey, what's your social security number real quick? I need to put it for an application.
You don't do that
anymore. Can't do that anymore. No. So next slide. And last but not least, and I've said this the whole time, if the call even sounds a little bit suspicious, it probably is. It probably is.
If something's too good to be true,
usually is. So even if you have a sense of doubt, that's it.
Yep.
You have to just call them back, or, I mean, the callback features, that's what you have to do. Code words, callback. I mean,
text messaging.
Hey, is this you? Someone just called me about money, some personal information, passwords, something like, was it you? Just let them know. And then, because everybody texts now, so, and
most people don't answer the phone.
I don't.
Yeah.
I scan my calls. Yeah. I scan my calls now, because there's so many scammers out there, not with just AI cloning, but just scammers in general.
Yeah.
Yep.
Trying to get you about your card extended warranty.
Yeah, extended warranty, or health care. Oh, I have a healthcare. Yeah. But anyways, so right now I'm gonna pass it off back to Chris Arendale. We're gonna do a little scenario, and he'll lead us into that.
So yeah, thank you so much, and great presentation. What we're going to do now is we've built up a few different scenarios of things that could happen, again, with family, with coworkers, with friends, and we're going to walk through those scenarios. And so what I've done is, again, a few coworkers, including Kylie, who's, again, leading us in this webinar, we've captured their voice. I've been able to work to actually, again, using AI voice cloning applications to regenerate that and use text. And so what we're going to do is pretend that one of our coworkers, whose name is Anthony, is going to be calling Z and asking him for some things, and seeing, we're going to see how close, if Z is going to be able to react, right, and to see what these scenarios look like. And the next one will be Kylie that will run through that scenario, but we're going to do Anthony's first.
So I just want a little tidbit. We're going to kind of do a good, bad. So I'm going to do the bad scenario first, where I just pretty much have no idea about AI cloning. I have no idea to protect myself, and I accept it pretty much. So we're going to go through that first, and then Kylie, we're going to kind of teach what we should use and protect ourselves, and how to react to these, to the scenario. So,
all right, so we're gonna get started. So this is Anthony calling Chris Z right now.
Hey, Chris, what's up, man?
nothing much, man. How's it going with you?
Doing good, man. Just trying to get some work done.
I hear you there. Me too.
Hey, can you help me out with something real quick?
Sure. What's up?
I'm just trying to figure out the Wi-Fi password for our office. Do you remember it offhand?
Why do you need the Wi-Fi password? Don't you have it on the computer already?
I got a new phone and would like to have the Wi-Fi set on.
Ah, yeah. Okay. No problem. Password is CyberData Pros 1 exclamation point.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
While I have you on the phone, I'm trying to get access to a report we did last week. Can you just send it to me?
Yeah, sure. How do you want me to send it? Email?
No, can you send it to my new cell phone? The number is 4043312100. I just don't have my computer with me, and we need to send this to our client right now for them to look over.
Oh, okay. No problem. I'll send it right over to you.
Thanks again, man.
No worries. Talk to you later.
Yeah, talk to you later. Bye.
But as we can see, for a lot of you that are listening in on this, what I've done is I've had to add extra spaces. I've had to add some, some exclamation marks, some question marks. I've had to tweak the voice a little bit to try to make it sound more non-robotic and make it sound more like a human. And that's the extra kind of layer on top of this, is that if you don't do your homework, if you just accept what gets spit out from the regeneration, then it could be very robotic. And so, like, for instance, the phone number, we were chatting about this yesterday. The phone number, when I was initially building this, it was all pushed together, no spaces, and there were dashes. And so what happened is the software read it really quickly as a word, but trying to spit out the numbers.
Like four,
right. And so it's one of those that you have to test it and see what works
put
best.
the space in and all
the
that
spacing
stuff.
and everything else.
Would you say that you're training yourself to put these long pauses in to sound more like a conversation than a robotic voice, or robotic Anthony, I should say?
Right. And so what's happening is that not only are you building this, but you have to listen, retrain, to make changes. It's not something that you can kind of easily just do. So there's a lot of extra layers on top of this.
I think that's not too bad. I mean, I think that's pretty easy for someone to do the spaces out. And
yeah, you just got to know what you're doing. You got to be able to listen. And the tough part is oftentimes when you're doing it in real time, you don't have the time to test it unless you've actually taken the time to do some of that before you're actually in that scenario.
You have to do, yeah.
Typically
before you're in the scenario, or before you even go, say a hack or a spoofer calls, they already have that in their mind.
They've already got it down.
Yeah, they already got it down. So yeah.
So the next one we're going to do, and so Kylie's going to graciously come back, and she has also provided some voice samples too as well for this scenario. And this is the one that, again, I'm going to have fake Kylie, as we call her, call Chris Z. Again, this scenario is going to be a little bit different. And again, with fake Anthony, it was, hey, I believe it's Anthony. I'm just going to give him whatever he asked for. And this one with Kylie is going to be a little bit different overall.
Right. This is going to be more of what I do with the tips and tricks on the slides, right? It's going to be, I learned the slides now. I'm a little more aware, a little bit more cautious. I looked at this webinar and now I know, always be suspicious. So I'm going to be suspicious about this.
All right. We're going to
let's roll.
Spin this one up.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Kylie, what's up?
Nothing much. I just had a conversation with Chris, and he was wondering if you have access to the client's reports on Dropbox.
Oh, yeah, I do have access to those reports. Why? Why do you need them?
Oh, okay, great. He's with the client right now and needs it badly. Can you just tell me your username and password, and I will give it to him to sign on?
Why don't I just give him a call and give it to him?
No, he said to just give it to me.
I don't know if I want to give out information over the phone.
Chris, please, this is very important that you give it to me.
Kylie, I will. I'll give it to you. You know our code word, right?
I don't have a code word.
Okay, I think I'm just going to call Chris and sort this out.
So
I hang up. I call Chris. Hey, Chris.
Nope. Never.
Never gave Kylie permission.
Nope.
So we always want to be suspicious of everything.
Yeah,
Everything.
and
Especially username passwords. I'm not going to give that over anything.
and this is something that, and again, Kylie's on the phone, and Kylie, I know that again we used your voice, we tweaked it a little bit, and I'm sure you can hear a lot of again using exclamation marks, using question marks, training the voice to sound like hurried, sad, happy, escalated, right? And so
well, she did sound escalated a little bit, like it was a sense of urgency that, hey, I really need this. You need to give it to me for Chris,
right?
So for me, like, if I didn't know, I would be like, oh no, Chris really needs that.
Here you go.
Here you go.
Right.
Like, oh, he's with the client right now.
Right. And now of course that information has been breached, it's been hacked, and somebody has access.
And now the company's breached and we're in big trouble.
So Kylie, is there any? Did that sound that sounded just like your voice, right?
Yeah, I think. Can you hear me? I think that was extremely crazy because it sounds exactly like me, and you can't even say it doesn't. Like, can you tell me his username and password? That sounds exactly like me. So it's scary how easily someone can just grab your voice and just clone it. It's scary. It's very scary.
One thing that I was going to be surprised to Chris D over here is that I actually was able to take a sample of your voice while you were actually presenting the slides.
How did I know you were going to do this?
Yes.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling. I was like, when I talk, I feel like he's gonna
capture it,
and see if he can tweak it out enough to get my voice. I told him no, but yes.
So I was able to. The great thing is I was able to capture it. I was able to, of course, using the audio and the hardware that I have on my laptop, I was able to capture your voice. I was able to clean it up a little bit, again, run it through a few different applications, and I've been able to generate some text. And so, again, it's really easy to do if you don't, if you're in that hacker mindset and you're trying to figure out AI voice cloning, you're trying to figure out, how you can, again, use.
It's almost like your second job. If you want money or personal information, I mean, that's kind of, hackers will find a way. To get your personal information.
Yeah, I've got a few sentences on here that I've already kind of spun up. That would be.
Don't see anything bad.
see how close your voice is to this, right?
I would like to order an iced coffee and 12 donuts.
Wow,
it's pretty scary.
Wow,
huh? It's really scary. It's
Wow.
I eat hot dogs with ketchup and onions.
I do.
It's just fantastic. And so you can easily see that I can build out scenarios using this voice. I can either have them prepackaged, I can do it in real time, and again using
pretty quick in real time, huh?
Pretty quick. And again, I can call your family and say, listen, I'm trapped. I'm being held for ransom. I'm stuck on the side of the road. Can you PayPal me, $100
so I can pay the tow truck? Or
there's so many different scenarios for this that it does make it very scary.
A lot of people don't know this yet. And I feel like
still new.
It's very new. AI is very new. Just broke through this year, and now look at the tech just coming out for AI in general.
It's getting,
and especially AI cloning.
Right, it's getting faster, easier. The hardware is catching up. The audio cards, the video cards. It's scary, and not only that, an extra step to this that we're not going to get into or have the time to get into is what people are doing now is they're actually taking humans and human models and changing their lips to act in their mouth to actually read these words. So I can actually have, again, taking you, I can, have you as like a model, an AI model, change your mouth to actually speak. And when you speak, it looks like you're actually speaking these sentences.
Do a Zoom call. You don't even have to be there.
Right. So again, from another tactic, right? It's like, hey, instead of like calling you back, let's just get on a Google Meet and I'll ask you the same thing.
And you see me, you see that I'm talking, the voice is okay.
Right.
And of course, like Zoom, Google Meet, all that, you're not going to have the perfect voice. So even if a little hinge here and there, with the voice, they won't think, some won't think twice.
And maybe the video is a little bit blurry because so it's like, okay, well, it looks like you, I can kind of pick you out. right? And I see your mouth moving, I see the words coming out. It makes it very realistic, and that's
So
even easier
scary.
to do. It's like that. There's there's Instagram posts, there's social media posts where people have actually done that to try to for money, for ransom, for something. So it's very scary.
That is very scary. I mean, everybody should know this as a consumer, as a person, as just a human being. People need to know this, not just in cybersecurity world. Everybody needs to know this now.
It's definitely something that's out there.
Yeah.
Okay, Kylie, did we have any questions from the audience? And if not, then I will kind of summarize this up and then close this down.
Let me take a look. Doesn't seem like we had any questions. I guess you both answered them all.
I think Heidi C might be typing a question, maybe.
Oh, we have a question in real
Let's
time.
see.
Real time, right now.
It's an AI question.
I spoke too soon.
And again, this technology is so new, but it's improving quickly.
Yeah.
And again, when you do sign up for a lot of these applications, you have to agree to the terms and conditions, which state that you're not going to use this maliciously.
Of course, but that's with everything.
How many times are people reading that and understanding it? Right?
ChatGPT also has that, but
that's true.
But people are using it for
malicious
reasons.
Yeah.
So I have a question here from Heidi.
Okay.
What websites are used for the voice AI? I guess what websites do you use for this? If you want to share that.
I knew that was a question, and I currently right now I don't feel comfortable giving that information out. I just don't want that to be used for anybody to do it. I will tell you that doing some easy Google searching like AI voice cloning application, AI voice cloning software, you'll see the majority of them come up. The free ones are horrible. You really need to pay for the software in order for it to be useful.
Some are really, really expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one that I'm currently using is about $200 a month. They do have packages that go up to $1,000 a month. And so these applications can get pretty pricey. The free ones that I've used were very, you could only do like a certain amount of words or a certain amount of seconds, and it doesn't make sense if you're building out scenarios. And so again, there's plenty of them.
I have two more questions.
Wow. Okay.
I had two more questions. I'll start with this one from Shannon. Sorry. Which model used for training?
Actually, the great thing is that the applications actually have everything built in. The one that I'm currently using. So once I record the voice and once I actually import it into one platform to clean it up, to basically be able to add any sort of happiness, sad, things like that.
And
exactly.
The accent to it.
Yep. And any accent, anything like that. When you do build the training models, you have to choose things like, is it a male or female? You got to choose race. You got to choose, are they older, younger, that kind of thing. So
we'll have that inflection of kind of the old age to like a teenager.
Yep. And you can even do dialects, which I think is pretty cool. So for instance, I could put an Italian dialect, a Russian, a French, anything like that. So the models are actually really cool and kind of automated fashion. And then what I do is I export it out of that platform and import it into another one. And this platform that I'm using is where I load the final audio file. And this is where I can actually type. And when I type, it's actually using the voice to actually speak that out. So awesome. It's a few different steps to get there, but that's to make it really clean. Now you can import it into one application and just use it. So the application that I'm using, I could import a raw file without inflection, dialect, race, gender, all that. I haven't tried that. I'm sure it'd be terrible because it would sound more like a robot. Right. And so that's the thing is again, that's a great question, right? There's different models out there to train, the voice and the dialect and things like that. And so everything has been built in, which has been great. So I would say for this webinar, I probably spent about $350 overall to build out, of course, the recording of the audio is free. But then, of course, for the applications, right, to again change the dialect, the race, the gender, and then import it to this.
To get like we said before, to get a good product of AI cloning, you have to pay.
You got to pay.
Because I think he used some free features and that stuff, and it just came out robotic.
It was bad. Yeah. So like again, while I was preparing for this, I did play around with a lot of free applications, and it was not good.
Right. I mean, it's
You know,
not good at all.
No, it wasn't good. And you know, one I believe so. One application that I did use, I will tell everybody about it because it is used for multiple applications. It's not just for AI voice cloning. Is a product called Speechify. And so Speechify, again, it's you can do like it reads the text on a page. You can do a lot of other things. It has a lot of other applications out there. That was one that I used for free. They had a paid version, but I found that these other applications that I'm using now are far superior.
Well, that's good.
You got to play around with these things.
Because one might not be as good as the other. All that. Could say AI generative, but is it really? Is it the quality is there? And it seems like the quality is there for what you have.
Yeah, it definitely took a lot of guessing and testing and playing around, but I think we finally got it there.
That's awesome. That's great.
I got one more question from Kawupion. The question is, how do you scan your calls?
Right. So scan calls. Pretty much I just look at my phone. If it says spam caller, a lot of them will say spam caller now. There's an algorithm in Apple and Androids now that you can just put on. It's like a feature now, especially with Apple iPhone, which I have, that you can spoof numbers. Even if it's the same area code, they have an algorithm out there. I don't know how. I'd like to research it a little bit more, but that's how I scan calls. Usually it says spam risk, or if I don't know the number, scan call. If I don't know the number, I won't pick up. They can leave a voicemail.
There's plenty of other applications out there too that I use. I think it's like a 1-800 scammer app. There's a lot of things that you can download. AT&T has one built in too as well. There's the other great thing too is you can actually, if you see a call coming in and it's a consistent one that's a scammer or spam, of course you can go ahead and block the phone call, right? Then block the caller. And let but if they're using a spoof phone number and it's somebody that you want to get phone calls from the future, which has happened to me. I've actually done that for Comcast. It was a spoof phone number and I blocked it, and then of course they tried to call me, and
it was Comcast.
Yes,
really,
Comcast
they were spoofing
number.
Comcast. So
Which is very crazy.
Pretty much a scammer was trying to get money or something out of you from Comcast, but it wasn't really Comcast.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It happens.
Absolutely nuts.
Those are great questions, Kylie. And thank you everybody
thank you everyone for those questions. Those were great.
Yeah. So I'd say again, I know we're coming close to the end of the webinar. I would like to thank everybody for coming again and kind of listening in on these scenarios and understand the importance of AI voice cloning and sort of what's happening out there in the real world. For more information about us, you can visit our website, cyberdatapros.com, info@cyberdatapros.com. We have webinars every other Wednesday called Webinar Wednesday. We do weekly blog posts. We have monthly newsletters, and we do a lot of work around data privacy and cybersecurity. So if anybody is interested or has questions, would love to talk with you about any of that after the webinar. But again, I appreciate everybody joining. And any last words, or should I end it with a nursery rhyme of your voice going out?
Especially again, want to thank everyone for coming to see us today. It was a great webinar. I really enjoyed it. Don't usually do this with Chris too often. He's too busy for us sometimes. So it was really enjoyed to do a webinar with him today, especially with AI cloning. So I really appreciate you. I appreciate you coming in and doing the webinar with us. It was great. It was fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.